welcome once again to Transparent Conversations, Elevated Exchanges, my little podcast and vlog. My name is CPJR, or Calvin, if you know me. Tonight, this is Friday Night Live on YouTube. So basically, we just continuing with the week. This is the second podcast for the week. And tonight, we're going to talk about spirituality, religion versus spirituality. So that's going to come later. Just want to do a quick check-in, see how I've been doing. I've been doing great. I'm just waiting. Yeah, I did land a job, of course. I'm waiting for the security check to go through. It's with it's on a federal government contract, so I gotta go through all that. So everything's going well. Other than that, I'm having a good time. I'm really enjoying myself right now. Enjoying what I'm doing. I'm living a very, very simplified life. At home, and I'm waiting for the time to I need to report to work. Looking forward to it because I got a lot of plans, a lot of things gonna happen. So I've been mostly spending time by myself. This subject that I'm going to talk about tonight, religion versus spirituality, is something that's very important to me because I basically started out life as a Christian. My family was started out my life as a Christian and remained a Christian most of my life, and then I slowly just started. I'm not going to say waking up. I slowly just started realizing that that's not my path. But first, I want to say I got to make a disclaimer because most of my family is still Christian. They're very, a lot of them are devoted Christians. They're like deaconesses in church, ministers, and things like that. I do not have a problem with Christianity. I do not have a problem with religion. It's just not my path, and I'll talk about that more. So I'm not trying to just convince anyone of anything, because I don't want to. Right? Don't follow me. Don't follow me, because I'm gonna tell you there were some downsides to me waking up to when I woke up. Waking up to realize that I can no longer be a Christian. I can no longer walk that path. The first thing that happened to me when I first had that realization, it was the kind of like, it wasn't an empty feeling because I, disconnected with God or anything like that. It happened. I disconnected from my community, right? No matter what happened or what's happening in my life, I can always come back to church and see people that I loved and people that love me. But once I, figured out for me that this isn't my path, that was gone. Right? It was a sort of it was gone, but it opened up more. You see what I'm saying? I was gone from this community at church, religion, and then I, found a new community and new meaning for life. So, like I said, this is not trying to convince someone, just trying to share my story, share my experiences, and why is that important? That should be shared. Like I say, in recovery, especially in the rooms, in AA, that's a huge thing, right? It's gigantic. I mean, it's a part of it. You have to find a higher power. There's steps, right? And you have to have a higher power. They don't tell you what the higher power is. It can't be Jesus. It can't be God. They told me it can be a doorknob. So it's a weird thing for me and I just couldn't get over that, right? Because a lot of times going through my story, I was different religions. The religion I kind of most identify with would be Buddhism, but not fully. Buddhism to me isn't a religion. I know it is a religion, but to me it's more of a philosophy, right? It's a way of living. It's sort of like living in the moment. It's basically trying to teach you to live in the moment and release the suffering. Because they believe, Buddhists believe all life is suffering. So, because you're constantly desiring things, you constantly want things. So, if you're sitting here right now, I may be tired, right? I feel it, right? So, I want to go to sleep, but I got to do this, right? I'm not staying in the moment. So, for me, I found that staying in the moment is important and helpful. So, I'm going to talk about that more. So, I'm going to finish this check-in. I guess I told you about the job. That's going well. I could talk about the business. The business is going the business actually. So I'm learning how to increase. This is an exercise. More than anything else, I want to know how to produce podcasts, how to get the listener engagement, social media engagement, how do you promote podcasts, and then eventually how do you monetize them, right? Because my ultimate goal is a studio, my podcast, a studio, and a creators collective. Those are my three main goals for this. And that's what I'm working on right now. At the bottom, starting out, just new. We'll see. Got this is like the 8th episode, I think, because I do 2 a week. But so just making sure I'm here for that takes time. It takes time and energy. And now, like I said, probably after I finish this, I'm hoping that this security check goes quickly, and I'll be back at the job by May 1st. And then that's a 2-hour commute every day. So that's gonna be more energy. But like I said, I like to commute, so that gives me time to work on the train. It's out in Reston. If you're from DMV, you know what that is. Yeah, so things will change, but I'm still gonna at least always do the Friday Night Live podcast. Like this is my slot that I've been wanting to do for a long time. I like Friday night. I used to go out on Friday nights, and then sometimes I just still hear that beat from the club. I don't know how many of you are from the DMV, but my favorite club was Zanzibar. And that club was always jumping for me. So I always think about that. And I knew where I used to DJ too. So I knew where the subwoofers were in the club, because that's why I walk around listening for sound, seeing how the sound is set up. When I DJ, and I had a mobile DJ company, pretty successful. But I really liked learning the equipment and setting stuff up more than just DJing. So my setup was important to me. I'm gonna show a picture on here one day. It was very important to me that it looked that the lights were right. I didn't like cords anywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like I really put my all into it, and I had a good time doing it. So now I'm gonna put my all into this and make sure this works too. And so there's more to come as the audience grows, the community grows, and the podcast grows. There'll be a lot more chances to be involved in the process. So that's the check-in. Everything's good. Going to work. No worries. I feel very, very, very good about the future. A lot of times at this point, I will start feeling kind of weary because, I don't know if I need to watch what I say, but I needed to stop. And I couldn't actually just force myself to stop the way I used to or make changes. I need to stop. So the only way to do that for me at this time is just stop working. So thinking about going back to work. Am I thinking about I'm gonna start again? No, I don't think I'm gonna. No. I don't know. Right? I know I don't want to. My tensions are good. Right? Like what? So yeah, like what I've been saying in the show is know your truth, walk in your truth, and know when somebody's trying to get you to stray from your truth. That's the friction. So I don't have any friction right now. I'm basically just doing what I need to do, doing what I want to do, and enjoying the process. All right. So from the Wednesday night show, I do want to address one thing. I was talking about E&M, and I was answering some questions for the group, and I said that in E&M or ethical non-monogamy, there is cheating, right? There is, because basically people lie. I don't, for me it's weird, but here's the thing: why people cheat, or why they're still cheating in E&M, ethical non-monogamy or polyamory, because basically there's rules, right? Once you put rules on people, that's the one thing I do believe. That's not the one thing. It's one of the many things I do believe. Once you put rules on people will break those rules, right? Because who's the rules protecting? Is probably protecting you. They're not gonna care because they're gonna break a rule. A cheater is a cheater is a cheater. And even if they have they have some leeway, some permission, because usually the rules are set up where you need to, call your partner before you do this, call your partner before you do that. You can't do this, don't do that. You know what I'm saying? You're sort of got one toe in, one toe out. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people, this has been a big discussion. Like you have to get clearance before you have sex with a new person, right? You have to call your partner. I don't know how this works because I don't do this. How this works, but basically, if you're on a date and you say, you tell your partner, when I'm going out tonight. When I was so and so, we're gonna go here. A lot of people like they want to know where you at, they want to know what you're doing, all this and that, and that just gives them security. It has nothing to do with you. It's just helping them feel safe, right? And so that's once you require that for a person, they're gonna lie, right? Because they don't feel that you trust them, right? And then it gets awkward because you're in a date with another person, and now I got to stop what I'm doing in this relationship because I got to report back into this relationship. It's just a recipe for disaster. So for me, I got to the point, or I'm at the point that you cannot cheat on me, right? Because I'm gonna allow you to do what you want to do. Even in a committed relationship, I don't. So if in a committed relationship, and I've been in committed relationships, in this thing. So basically, I don't really require any information from you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, of course, you be safe, practice, you use safer sex practices and all this and that. But if you're telling me I'm going out with blah, 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 I'm saying, all right, be cool, have fun, be safe. Call me if you need me. That's it. I'm not worried about, so is you going to be going all night? You know what? I need you to call me at this time. Let me know you're okay. And it's interesting thing about that though. There are women that want their partner to, they want their partner to be like that. Like they want their partner to be worried about them, overprotective and all this kind of stuff. Because I don't know why. I guess it goes back to chivalry or something like that. We grown. We grown. I trust you to do what you gotta do for yourself. Because if I'm with you and I married you and I'm in a relationship with you, I trust you. That's why I got with you, right? I didn't get with you because I didn't get part ways with you. I didn't get with you because I need to learn more. I got with you because I love you and I trust you, and I know you're not gonna do anything to harm me intentionally. It's not gonna be malice. So that's why I got to the point where in these discussions and even with them, I don't need to know all that. I'm open to hearing everything and anything, right? I get excited about hearing your dates and hearing what's going on. But it's up to you though. It's up to you strictly. And over time, I've learned that you can overshare. Don't share everything, but it's up to you. So you can't really cheat on me. I don't know how you could. Well, I guess you could lie to me. You know what I'm saying? Like you didn't and you did. That could be cheating. But I'm gonna be like, why you do that? That sounds stupid. You could have just said it. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I require someone to be in ethical normal, not the one-on-one class. You got to be in the advanced class to bang around me because I'm definitely not going back to the. I'm not going back to the lower levels, and that's a problem for me. Not a problem. Yeah, it's a problem for me because basically, like I said before, this is a small community, and there's not a lot of people to date. That's why if you ever see a lot of people date the same people, or a lot of times you'd be like, wait a minute, they together now? All right, cool. Because you want relationships, so why not be with the people around you? And the people around you might have been in a relationship with your best friend. Yeah, I don't have that issue either. You could date my I got a story about that too. You could date one of my cousins. You could date one of my exes. I wouldn't care. I mean, not that I wouldn't care, because I trust you and I love you. You could do what you need to do for yourself. I'm not going to deny anyone happiness to protect my feelings. I need to work through that. So I don't know. I try to listen to people talk about that though. Like, you can't date anyone that I dated, or you can't be with anyone I've been with. And I don't understand why you would deny happiness to someone else to make yourself feel better, right? That's that selfish thing. So let's talk. So that's not selfishness, but that self-preservation thing. Like, what you want to, like, I think to me, rules stop people from growing, and that's gonna bring me to where we are tonight for tonight's conversation. I'm gonna. I already put a disclaimer out there, right? Like, I'm not trying to shade anybody or anything like that. I believe that everyone needs to have some type of connection to something that helps them to be a better person, right? So, but then you look at the current administration, they all claim religion and they're not better people. So something's missing there, and I'm gonna talk about the part that's missing. So basically, for me, there's religion, the church, the Christianity, Catholicism, Islam. There's all those religions, right? So pretty much based on where you're born, is what you're going to be, right? I was when I first came into religion, we were Baptists, right? Because we were down south and we were Southern Baptists. And then one of the I forget what he called it at the end of the covenant. I think it was the covenant we say at the end, and it says I will abstain from drinking or selling alcoholic beverages every Sunday. And I'm just left the club. I just left the club. I'm getting over a hangover, but I'm in here saying this. I don't know why that's required. Like I know that's required because it's some holdover from some other time, right? When alcohol was illegal and thought to be evil. So by putting that's the part of religion. I'm gonna talk about it a little bit more. I'm gonna say what this is. So putting that in the book and making you say it every week, you're making me lie every Sunday, right? Instead of just saying, hey, we need to take this out because everybody drink. You know what I'm saying? Why is this here? Just take it out, right? And so that it's to me that making that decision to take it out is more of a spiritual thing. Like, okay, we want to be truthful. We want to be honest about who we are and what we're doing. So why do we keep saying this? You know what I mean? Like, why are we making people say this? I mean, that's the goal. Well, say that I aspire to be abstaining from drink. You know what I'm saying? You could do it in a way to not have people feeling guilty and having to lie every Sunday or every first Sunday. We say that on first Sunday. So yeah. So like I said, it's no shade or nothing. This is just my story and how I deal with life, how I keep myself or attempting to keep myself straight or why I haven't died yet or allow myself to be killed yet. Because I definitely believe I'm happy to be here because I probably shouldn't be. A lot of close calls. But I'm really happy to be here now. You know, I mean, look, I guess I could say I'm excited. Like I said, I've been here before. I was here in, like I said, 2020, 2019. And I say in this position in life when I say, like, here. You're ready to start something new, right? And then, then something else pop up. I changed that. I'm not changing that. So I'm kind of enjoying this. And I kind of see how it was important. It's important to do this. Like I've never had a desire to be alone or do things alone. But now I do. It's just a certain peace that I get. And just release a lot of strife and struggle. I've been coming up with a lot of things that I've been noticing that I've been coming up with a lot of things that I've had to just release. Like, okay, I can't do nothing. It's up to the universe to work this out. I can't do it. Or I can't come up with a reasonable explanation in my head. It's just gonna have to work itself out, and then it does. But that's not any supernatural thing. It's just me releasing that situation and doing what I can. Right? I'm gonna always do what I can do, and once I do what I can do, there's nothing else I can do. It's gonna resolve itself one way or another, and that's like my spirituality. So I want to talk about going to my history and how I've been how I left church Christianity. There's actually a video in my channel where I talked about my my deconversion, how it came about. Like I've always in all my adult life, especially after my first marriage ended, because church was very, very traumatic to me. And I'm gonna say this, I'm not gonna say that nothing happened or anything like that. It was never a good fit, right? I can say that, right? It was never a good fit, right? It just always seemed it was hard for me to be there every Sunday doing things I didn't want to do. I don't want to look to my I don't want to look to my left and tell my neighbor anything. I don't want to look to my right and tell my neighbor anything. Why are you forcing me to do that? I don't understand. Why? Why is that necessary? And then the whole because I've already said that I had a problem with anxiety, right? So the key to get me to go into church is to provide like goodies, like yeah. If I walk in, I'm gonna see if anybody can catch this code. If I ever walk among, get to walk in the trees, and enjoy the breeze before I go to church, I love it. It is. I love it. Because I could tap into my spiritual side and enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not having up in my head thinking about this is crazy. What time is this over? I think she said that 5 minutes ago. He said that 5 minutes ago. Why is he repeating that? Why are you yelling at me? That's something I really say a lot. I don't understand why these ministers are yelling at me. Don't yell at me. I'm going to yell at you. Can I yell at you? Um, so so that was a so like I said, I was Baptist. Um, for most of my teenage years, we did not go like we didn't go to church as a family. We moved. I was born in France. My father was in the military. Then we moved to the first apartment that I remember us as a family in was in Atlanta, Georgia. Small apartment, black neighborhood. I don't remember nothing about it. I got like a picture of it in my head, but I don't remember too much about it. But I remember we used to go to church. Church was on top of the hill, I believe. And my father used to drive a little Carmageia, one of them German cars, like a little smushed out VW Bug. I think he brought it from overseas. So yeah, I need to talk to them about how I get a kick out of talking to um my parents about how it was back then, or even my aunts and uncles how it was back then. Because I'm like, you bought a car from for some reason my impression of living in the South during that time was Martin Luther King and everybody getting sprayed with hoses and dogs. And then I was at dinner, I think, with my parents the other night. They were talking about them going over there, and they were on the ship. I don't remember. I'm like, okay, so it wasn't 100% bad. It was a lot percent bad. It was bad, but it was black people still gonna do what they gonna do. They still gonna get what they gonna get. You know what I'm saying? I want to bring my car from Germany. It's doable. So you find out how to do it and you do it. And don't let nobody stop you. So that I think I'm gonna try to have some more of those conversations. With my elders, with the elders on here. I want to include that. I'm still trying to work it out. I don't know if that needs to be a separate podcast. If you have an interest in that, let me know, because that is an idea I want to hash out. Having conversations with the elders, but it doesn't fit in this show because this show is elevated, right? We walk amongst the trees, feeling the breezes in this. But right now, like I said, I'm not. I'm taking some time for myself. I didn't talk about. Oh, this is episode 4. Dot 22. So episode number 4, 22 days. If you know, you know. And so yeah, that's another podcast idea I have. Actually, like put it on. Actually commented that under someone's Instagram page right there, and that thing is like 4,000 likes. It's still like get likes every day, because I guess people really want to hear from your elders. And I tell you, I'm gonna go on a tangent for 1 second, and I'm gonna tell you why that was interesting to me and why that came up, because during the time when they did when the Supreme Court reversed Roe v. Wade, which is crazy to me that they did that because they said they wouldn't, but they reversed Roe v. Wade and threw it back to the states, right? So that's in a lot of states. I live in blue state. I'll never live in a red state unless you pay me a lot of money. So and then I can live by myself. I can live like a rich person and not really care, because that's what they do. They don't really care about all those laws that are affecting people down below. So I will not live in it, because I live in a blue state, and I'm gonna keep it that way because I like to be able to have some control over my life, and then have common sense conversations and not do dogma. Um, Not be stuck, because dogma stifles free thought, right? That's another conversation. Anyway, so dang, I forgot what I was talking about. That was quick. Oh, the other podcast about the elders. Yeah. So I was talking to my mother, and she, like I said, we lived in after living in Atlanta, Georgia. My father got a better job, and then we came up north. Right. I would have been uh, if my father was an average Joe. He'd go get her. Always was. I would have been in Atlanta, right? I'd have been down there in Atlanta. I would have been in. But Atlanta is the polyamorous mecca for all black people, by the way. So it's there's a big old 1 year pilgrimage, Polyween, that everybody goes to in Atlanta. I was supposed to go 1 year. That's a whole story about that, though. I was supposed to go 1 year. Had 2 Airbnbs booked. I was ready to go, and I did not fuck that up. I broke my own heart on that one. So yeah, so it's a mecca. So I would have grew up there in Alabama, but like my father got the job, we were up here. Lived in Virginia for a year, and I was the only black in my school. Or maybe there was another one. I don't remember. I was the only black in my school. My best friend was Jewish. My professor was Jewish. Danny Rosenberg. Still remember him. Scouts. great people. Loved them. Never had a problem. Never had a problem. Um, Never had a problem. I'm like, I don't understand. I guess it was a very liberal, progressive neighborhood. I did have one problem. The white German Shepherd did bite me in my ass while riding my bike. And I think it was two. It was a gay couple. Yep, the white German Shepherd. I don't know, bit me in my ass riding a bike. I don't think it was used to white black people because there was none in the neighborhood. If you know where Gallows Road is in Virginia, and you know where ExxonMobil, I worked at ExxonMobil over there. ExxonMobil, we live right across the street from right by the Beltway on Gallows Road. There's like a condominium, not condom, sorry, a townhouse development down the hill. We live right there. That's where I lived at when I first got up here. And then eventually, so I guess because we were there, in that neighborhood, it was all white. There were no black churches that I knew of. There was very few black people back then. And eventually, in that town, I think they were renting that townhouse for a year. I'm only trying to remember. It must have been more than a year, though. So anyway, eventually moved to our house up here in Oxon Hill, Indian Queen. And then that's where, and then when we got to this neighborhood, that neighborhood was mostly black. It was mostly white. But it was changed. You know, white folks moved, white flight. So it was eventually all the black white folks moved out of the neighborhood because my school was like mixed. I had a diverse upbringing with many, many different friends. Filipino, Cambodian, white, black, I want to say Latino or people from that side down south. I don't know the proper term. I want to be respectful. But people from down South America, their heritage was from that. And they came up here, right? So that was my upbringing, right? So in this neighborhood. So there was one church in the neighborhood where when we got there. It was a church called Fulford Baptist Church, White Baptist Church. We didn't go. I'd have been just as bored. Didn't matter to me. I think we tried to go to another Baptist church that was on in Southeast DC. Yeah, I'm not going to Southeast every week. So anyway, it was on Southeast DC. I know the church was on what's that? Southern Avenue? No, it was South Capitol Street, right by the If you're on South Capitol Street, right before you go to I think South Africa and First Street, maybe First Street, or right before you go into the Beltway. There's a church over there. We went there a few times, or maybe one time. I don't remember. But anyway, I remember a long stint of. Wait a minute, I left a whole house out. we lived in apartments in Atlanta. Then we moved to the house in Atlanta with the pool. We always had a pool. And then we moved to Virginia. And then we moved to the big house in Oxon Hill. So there was a whole stint of time, right? A whole block of time that we did not go to church. I did not miss it for myself. Maybe they'll say that that was a mistake because I wasn't grounded in religion. By the time I got to I think 11th, 12th grade, I was about. I'm gonna tell you this. I tell people now we were savages. I don't like. I got a job when I was 16. I got a car. I had the car. I got the Plymouth there. My mom hand me down car, and I was not home. I don't remember nothing. Nothing. I was either working or out. So I think they eventually there was a church that eventually moved into the neighborhood, Riverside Baptist, and then that's where they started going and putting in roots at that church. So that was a small church at first, but it started to grow, and that's when I got reconnected back to religion. So I think I went there for a while. I think I went to college in University of Alabama in Birmingham, and I think that I must. You know what? I did. I was going to church before I left because when I went down there, I think my grandparents tried to get me to join that church under like watch care while I'm down there, but I ain't going to church. I'm not religious, so I didn't really go to church. I got in all kinds of trouble, but I didn't go to church. Unfortunately, I can't say unfortunately. I don't know. I'm gonna say I'm trying not to be crazy what I'm talking about, but I guess I'm saying that it never stuck with me, right? It never stuck with me because I'm a little of a person. If something sticks with me, I go all in. If it doesn't, I'm gonna just go through the motions and be bored. It never really resonated with me. Um, it never really stood out as important to me. Religion. I'm saying religion. Because I didn't, because it wasn't really. This is a problem. No, let me say this is a problem I have with religion. Most people treat religion as something to do, right? It's not even it's not like a part of life. Like they will go to church on Sunday and that's it, right? That's the majority of people, and we talked about this at church a lot, right? There's a pastor, then there's a ring of real, there's rings, right? Everybody fits into these circles, right? And then the closer you go, the closer to the pastor you are, those people believe more and more. Most of the people who come to church don't really believe. They're just there because that's something you do. It's a tradition. It's a tradition. So that's something that you do. It's not a real hard belief. I still believe in God. I know I need to pray for my food. I need to pray before I go to bed. But it doesn't really affect their life. They don't really affect who they are. So in that instance, church is important because we need conformity. All right. So we were in that church for quite a bit, quite a long time. Like like I said, I went to college, came back. The church was still going on. I think they had bought the building yet. I don't know, maybe not, because I think that was happened while we were there. So I was involved in this church, right? I was really involved. Around about that time is when I first got hooked on substances or the substance, and changed everything for me. So and then I think church became important because it was a refuge. It was me trying to hold on to life. You know what I'm saying? Like not let my soul die, all of that, and not die because it was rough back then. It was rough back then out in the streets. Everybody remembers City on the Siege. If you're from DC, you remember those late night shows or late night TV when they would just turn the TV into like what should be happening now with this current situation, this current coup. It would basically just turn. They would just talk about all the crime that day, and they had like National Guard on the street. Like it was bad. And then I was out on the streets during that time. It was bad. And that just really changed my life. Like it really made me desperate to find an answer. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like like I say, I was desperate to find an answer, and I'm not gonna really go into any more about that. But so I came into church because it was basically my family was there. I met people there. I brought my girlfriends to church, because I never had just one. And then eventually my first wife, I met her at work, and she came to my church, and we got married there. So it was an important part of life, right? It was just that important part of life, right? And I could deal with the parts that I didn't want to deal with because I'm checking my levels, because it was important. It was good, right? It was good. Like I said, I was on the usher board for the most part. Like I was president of the usher board, and I was treasurer on the usher board one time. At one time, so I was really involved in the church, and back then that usher board was highly respected, and it felt good to be in that type of organization for a while. So and I didn't really leave that church until after I got married, right? And let me tell you, the reason I got married is because of religion, right? And I'm gonna tell you why. Because and I'm gonna talk to this about, man. Like I say, when we're still talking religion, we ain't talking spirituality. This is straight religion. So So it's like, it's better to marry than to burn. I know you heard that before, right? Like premarital sex is a rule. There's a rule. It's a sin. Sin is a rule. Sin is rules. So you break the rule. You feel bad about it. You feel guilty about it. But you're not gonna die. You can justify it. So it's not really for most people really causing a change in their life. They're just following rules, following a prescripted. Following a scripted, following a path, right, to salvation, a path to a better life after you die, or heaven. It's not really. Hopefully, you're changing this up, but for the most part, no. You're just really following, wanting to be accepted, and you're following the path, right? So it's not asking for a change. So, like I said, rules are gonna be broken, right? Because it's what's the consequence? What's the consequence of premarital sex? Most people say the consequences of is what's the thing called? Sorry, the big thing, pregnancy, pregnancy, and then disease, STIs. Those are pretty much why those rules were in place. They want to decrease STI. They want to decrease single mothers, or not single mothers, but they wanted to decrease pregnancies, right? You want to decrease pregnancies. So so that's the rule: no sex before marriage, right? That helps. That's a good rule in place. I don't think so, but it's a good rule to have in place, right? Because you don't want to have a lot of people getting STIs, sexually transmitted infections, or getting pregnant out of wedlock, right? So that's a rule, but it's not working. People still getting pregnant out of wedlock, right? At an alarming rate. So the rule's not working. But we keep doing that. We love doing things that don't work over and over again. Isn't that the definition of insanity? Interesting, maybe. So yeah, so that was a rule. So that was a rule that I broke a lot, right? We justified it. We justified breaking it. So eventually you're gonna get married because the thing is right. Like I said, me and we were both at work, right? I mean, so we were both we worked together for a while. We worked together a lot, and then we actually kind of lived together. But then when tell nobody at the church, I think my parents knew because I wasn't here or at home. We basically just lied, point blank. Because at this time, I think I was actually like the young adults leader. Oh yeah, young adults leader, right? Yeah. So we had a pretty little tight crew at this church, right? A little I don't know, maybe it was like maybe 10 of us, all coupled off, most coupled off, but most like very religious. So I remember one night in particular, and I'm gonna tell you some more about this. But one night in particular, everybody was over because we lived in Virginia. Rhonda lived in Virginia. I live in Rhonda. So one night in particular, I think we all got together at at her house. We were all there. They came over from Virginia. Excuse me one moment. Yeah, we came out. They all came over from Virginia, and they were all at my house. They were all at the house, right? So we didn't want to tell them we lived there, right? Together, right? Because we didn't want to say we were having sex. Everybody was having sex. They were all coupled off, right? So we didn't want to let them know that. So I just hang around. They was like, I'm gonna leave later. Y'all go have a good night. So they all left, went back to Maryland, and I just stayed there. But we had to lie, right? Rules. So we had to lie. We lied about it, right? What was the benefit? What was the bad part about lying? I don't know what the penalty was for that. I don't know what the penalty is for lying. Yes. Hey, guys. I'm sorry for that. I just leave and come back. I'm gonna put up a sign recording. Yeah. Yeah. We were the rules. The rules caused us to lie, right? Because we were like trying to, fit in. So eventually, bada bing, bada boom. We gotta get married because basically we want to keep having this sex, right? So we want to build a life together. Um, that's the most important thing. So we eventually got married in that church, right? And then, um, but I don't know if we would have got married went for church though. Like I said, I say things. I'm gonna tell the truth. Be transparent. I'm not sure. You know what I'm saying? Because I never really thought about getting married at the time. But it's just something that we had to do, right? To stay together and to be legitimate. So, we got married and lived together for a while, and eventually, the story. I always talk about what you have to be true to yourself, know your truth, walk in your truth, and know when somebody's trying to straight pull you from your truth, right? So I don't even think I had truth back then. I think I was doing the best I could because that was the beginning of hell. So anyway, um, yeah. So eventually we got divorced. We went to another church down. We were actually no. We moved to Manassas and joined another church, another Baptist church, and I was in this church for a long time. And like I said, this is when I went. This is not when I went full in, but I went full in. Um, and to be honest with you, I had a lot of issues with that church. The way it was set up, because we were in the, remember I said the circles, around the pastor, and because we were in the inner circle of that church, right? Because I was working on I volunteered to do everything. I was a van driver, trustee, newsletter editor. Me and Ron did the newsletter, and just a lot of little other things, like any little thing any little thing that came up, we did or we participated in, and that wasn't. It was okay, but it was just busy work, right? Because I was also just starting my career in IT, working long hours for that, and then doing this, and then some of the long hours I had to work because I had to go to town for classes. That that really that body hurt. Like now, like back then, I would definitely I was under the illusion of happy wife, happy life, right? Because she wasn't happy. Nobody was happy. We had good sex though, but nobody was happy. Damn, my daughters. I'm sorry. Take that, strike that. I'm gonna bleep that out. So nobody was happy. But we were together. As a family, we were together. But we still were, enjoying trying to make it work. But ultimately, just the work, just stress load of work, raising kids. But we eventually got, we moved to Manassas because we bought a house. So we were progressing. We were on that, that upward trajectory. You're saying you're working hard. You're starting to get money. You're starting to enjoy life. You're starting to buy things. And I was still fighting my demons. But just because more and more that the problems popped up, the more and more we went to religion as an answer, right? Religion as an answer, all right? Because we need to follow the rules. You know what I'm saying? I remember specifically you're having problems because you're out of alignment, right? God first, pastor, then the man, and then the wife of the household. If you're out of religion, what was it, God, Jesus? But if you're out of alignment, that's why you have a problem. You have to get into alignment. I don't, you know what I mean? Like, really just pay attention to do what you're supposed to be doing. You know what I mean? Like, and then everything else will work out. Doesn't really matter if you're down inside. It doesn't matter if you don't want to be there. You know what I'm saying? Just get in line. It's going to work out. And the marriage retreats, everything. It just wasn't there. It just wasn't there for me. And the moment I tried to fake it, the worse it got. You know what I mean? The worse it got, or the worse I got, because I don't fake it well. So that eventually ended in flames, and then I left another church out. Yeah, that eventually. Oh, that's it. No. Okay. Yeah, eventually ended in flames, and I started going to the church again. And in the meantime, while in the same neighborhood, while this was going on, we were living in Manassas. Up here, this church was falling apart, or this church split like 2 times, 2 different churches. I think out of that one church, like 3, at least 2 or 3 of the churches came out because of splits. People split, right? Things split up. They don't get along. What you do, start a new one. And that's why I wanted to ask about you about church and religion. Is why is there a church on every corner, but the neighborhood is still dangerous? So what is the church doing? Maybe it'd be more dangerous if it wasn't for the churches. Okay. So yeah, force and rule. I mean, okay. So I'm gonna say this. So religion for me is about control, right? I don't care if it's Catholicism. I don't care if it's Catholicism or what else is there? Oh, Protestant Catholicism, Seventh-day Adventist, some made up stuff. A lot of the made up stuff in the Midwest I ain't know about. That's a lot of little church movements that were very big. They had a lot of scandals, but they keep doing it. So, so because people want to belong to something and follow something. So religion is a good thing. Religion is good for control, right? It's good for control. There's like it's a good because people will police themselves because they want to follow and belong to something. So that's where religion comes in. I know a lot of people, religious people, a lot of religious drug addicts who don't really go to church but still pray before they eat. Still pray before they go to sleep. Pray when they get up in the morning, but don't actually change their life because they believe that they follow these rules. Those little spiritual practices, those practices, they're fine. They're fine. There's no real change. So let me add though, some religious people are spiritual. Okay, some religious people are spiritual. Religion has, for me, I would say that religion has some redeeming qualities. It actually has some. Because I think spirituality is not a part of religion. I think it's a part of religion, but it's not a focus of religion, right? Because that's basically I see what's what we're in the situation we're in now, where we're trying to deal with Christian nationalists trying to take over the country. Like, if you read the Bible and you walk away with not loving, what are you reading? What are you reading for? If you know what I'm saying, you want to conquer your neighbor, and you want the people to subject themselves to you. You believe in a hierarchy. The hierarchies are in the Bible too. You believe in that these people should be over these people, but there's no love. I say it all the time. Like I don't see the love on a regular basis. Even when I was in church, I didn't see the love. That's one of the reasons why I couldn't click in, because I don't see the love. Right. I see the drive to recruit people, to get more people to come in, but I rarely see like the real love. You see it every now and then, but it's not like a practice. You know what I mean? It's nice to have. It's nice to have a loving church, but it's not really like a requirement. Because all you have to do is follow the rules. You know what I'm saying? Follow the path, the narrow path, and you'll be fine. You don't gotta love people. It's obvious. That's so obvious to me, but I'm not sure. But I don't really know the answer to it. So if you, like I said, the moment I accepted all these truths I accepted all these things to be my truth, I lost my community. That's still there. I still go, like I still have my parents clean their church. I still go every now and then, but I have to walk in the trees before I go. I will not go unless I can walk in the trees. I cannot. That'd be like sitting through watch paint dry for me. I don't care if it's because the whole thing is like it's interesting to me. One thing I know a lot of religious people don't do is they don't read the Bible, right? Right. So I have a definition of it I want to read right quick. Bear with me. It's on my Chrome book. What religion is, and I'm gonna read what religion is, and then we're gonna go into spirituality in 1 second because I know this is running long. I knew it was gonna run long. So, and I'm gonna talk about how I came out of religion, real quick. But I want to talk about religion. Religion, at its core, is a system of beliefs and practices, often involving worship of a deity or supernatural being that provides meaning, purpose, and a moral framework for life. Right? It's rules. Right? It's a framework. Right? It's a rule. I mean, basically, if you have a population of people, right, 350 million. You're gonna have to figure out a way for them to control themselves. So they don't go to war every week. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, now we're out the box right now because we lost control because we got people who call themselves religious leading the country and don't have a problem with lying on anybody, lying about everything, mistakenly sending someone to prison, and then admit the mistake, but will not reverse the mistake. And you see the person's family, and they're missing their family. He's a father, right? You worried about he's a father, but you still don't want to get the man back. That's not love. I don't know what that is. That's some evil shit, man. That's some evil shit. I don't know what you're talking about. Why you wear the cross and all that kind of stuff when you don't really believe in love. You know what I'm saying? You don't lead with love, right? Because people are your enemy. And for what? Because you think you are superior to them? Or you want to swindle them or grift them, right? Religious people are easily fooled and easily manipulated. because to me, I'm not saying anything. I mean, to me, they are because they all have the basis of religion is faith, right? It's what we have what's called revealed religion, right? Revealed religion, um, meaning that none of us actually have seen the God that we're talking about of the Bible or whoever. We don't see them. We don't hear them. We have a book that we ascribe to them that we say they divinely inspired, but we don't see it. Every experience that you have with God or your God, you have to tell me about it. It's revealed, right? We don't share it. We don't actually like share the story, right? You tell me a story. You tell me God did this, to God did that. I have to believe you on faith, blind faith. Faith is the evidence of things unseen. Um, so if I can get you to believe that, then I can get you to believe this, right? So you're not questioning. I'm a skeptic. Okay. Uh, so like I said, we got church split a lot. So I eventually ended up going to another church, Full Gospel AME Zion. I was an AME for a while, and then I went to that church because that church was what you call a teaching church. It wasn't so much a preaching church. So basically every Sunday, every sermon, people whip out their books, me too, and start taking notes. Making notes, right? And then we buy the tape. And you know what I'm saying? And we go through the tape, you know what I'm saying? Because he actually said this in his lessons, buy the tape, listen to the tape, go over your notes. You got to change your mind, change your circle, everything. That was giving me, steps to, to get to, get to salvation or get to freedom, right? There were steps you had to follow. And if you're not following these steps, if you're still having problems, you're just not following the steps. You know what I'm saying? Like I've had many pastors tell me, I'm a blessing you. You're now healed. You're saved. You never have to go back to that again. But you have to believe it. I did believe it, but I did go back too. So I don't know. Maybe I messed up. Okay. All right. So that's my thing about revealed religion. Like that's my thing about religion. It's revealed and it's a personal thing. But we make it a community thing. But basically, that's your experience. I don't know if what you're saying is true. I can never know that. If you say that, God gave me this new car, but you pay for it, right? We gave you the money to pay for it. Oh, I don't know. If I want to say God gave me a car, I got up, walked outside, and there was a car there, and the keys were just floating there. And I took the keys. God gave me this car. I wouldn't have to pay money on it. I don't know. This is just me talking. I don't want to do that. I'm sorry. Okay. So to me, like if you need to control or come up with a system, and that I've read the Bible, that being in that teaching church got me to read the Bible because I found contradictions in what he was saying, right? Because he concentrated a lot on. It was a big church. He concentrated a lot on tithing, right? And one thing he said that clicked in my head was. Know when you're going to a church that's trying to get over on you or not teach you correctly, because they're going to teach you out of the Old Testament, right? Not the New Testament. We're supposed to be New Testament Christians, blah, 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 blah. That was fine until it was time to tithe. Then we go back to the Old Testament because that's where you learn how to tithe. Tithing is actually in the Old Testament, right? It's not in the New Testament. So that's where you go. I'm like, what you just said, don't go. That just caused me to go dive into the internet and just research where all this. That's where it started at. So in this church also, you couldn't, you had to, another thing about lies, you had to be a tithing member to work in any ministries, right? So you had to basically say that you're giving your 10%, and they didn't check, like some churches I know will check, you need to bring pay stubs. But this church wasn't, it was like you had to just trust it. So I know I lied until I didn't want to lie anymore and I left. But, so I know a lot of people are lying. Like everybody's not giving their 10% or less or more. I know some people say they live off the 10% and give more. I don't know why they tell me that, but they tell us that. So to be a testimony, I guess, to show how much they're really relying on God. But if I'm making 200,000 or 500,000, maybe I don't know. I don't know how you do it 10%, but that's what they were saying. Like people would testify that they gave, I got this much credit from my credit cards. I want to tithe that amount of the amount of credit that God gave. It's just a weird thing that they just really concentrate on that, and that just caused me down to do that because I already read the Bible before, so that caused me to actually research like where do these things come from. And then that's when I really got into how the Bible was put together. I don't remember all this stuff anymore, but how the Bible was put together and all this kind of stuff. Because I'm a skeptic, right? So a long time I was a deist. I was a deist. I was a, you know what deist is, look it up, deism. That was a big thing in the old colonial times. I think Clockwork God. So basically, there's a God that started that created the earth, started it, and let it go. He's just watching, right? He don't do anything. He's just there. He wanted a TV show, so he created the earth and let it go. He's just sitting there watching. Why they doing that? That's stupid. You know what? Should I do something? Nah, they got it. So yeah, he's just watching. That was one. That's deism. So then I started the whole path about reading. Then I started reading on my own, and then when I started like reading Hutchins or something like that, Richard Dawkins, all the big guys. If you know, there's like a three: Sam Harris, Christopher. One of them died. I can't think of his name, but Richard Dawkins is still alive. I saw a cruise that they're having with him. I'm like, what are they doing that cruise? It's weird. So anyway, yeah, so I just read a book, and I was just like, so I was heading this direction. So then I tried to like, there's like a home church movement where basically they try to go and live like the New Testament. So there's no church. It's not a really organized church. They have like what's called house churches. So like a prophet is in the area. It's people meet in the home. They have meals together and things like that. And that's what I think is missing for me in church. Like church is very formal. You go to service, and then if you get to the inner circle, you start eating at different people's houses. It's a little more involved, but mostly you just go to sermons. Nobody's really talking, and really like sharing, in the most part, except for like the inner group. But most of the people on the outside, they just getting and if you ever go to the meetings or if you have an alcoholic, maybe an alcoholic or DI, they make you go to the meetings, they make you get a sign off. Like you got to go to like 50 meetings, you go get a sign off. You go there, they give the paper, and it's your attendance sheet. You sign that you attended, right? So it's like that. They're just coming in to attend. Till I get that signature for attendance, I'm good. Thank you, God, and they back out. But then the inner circles are definitely spend time together, and that's when you start seeing a lot of weird stuff too. A lot of stuff that you don't normally see, and stuff you'd be like, "What? I don't think I meant to see. I was supposed to see that." Because I worked on computers, right? So I was going to the pastor house with this and that, and people would just come by to the back door. Very strange. Anyway, so yeah, so that went through that experience, right? So then I went to the other church and I did the other research, and it was one night. So I don't know, this may be a dumb paradigm. I kind of asked myself a question one night about prayer, right? So it's gonna be dumb. I'm gonna say it anyway. So if two people prayed, you have two women at home, right, praying that they're praying right to their God. Both of their they. It also happens that these two women have husbands that have been out, at work, traveling salesmen, to travel for work. But they're both coming home. They're both on the same plane, right? So one wife saying, "Please bring my husband home. I love him. I can't wait to get here. I miss him, blah, blah, blah." And the other woman is playing, "Please don't let this man get here tonight and beat my ass. Please, I can't take it anymore. Whatever needs to happen, right? I don't, So whose prayer does God answer in that instance, right? The plane lands safely. The first woman's happy. She with her husband again. She's nice. The second woman is going to get knocked out. That's a paradox to me, right? And that's like, wow. And they just like, I couldn't work through that. Maybe some theologian, I don't try to convince me. But that's what I went through. Like, that's weird. I need to find out exactly what's going on there. That's just a strange, they can't possibly be praying to the same God, and the same God cannot possibly answer. It just like pop. It just like that in my head. There is no God. That's because that's the only way I can answer the question. People are just praying and hoping something works out their way, and sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. And then other little instances like that, I came to that's when I became an atheist. Right, I was an atheist for a long time, but that left me kind of empty, and it kept me kind of empty. But kept saying though, then I was pulled more towards. So I was out there, I was gone, and like I said, the first thing I thought was I was empty because I knew that I could not go back to church and share the belief. Right, because it's already hard for me to sit there and listen to the same sermons over and over again. Or in the same Bible study, Sunday school Bible study over and over again, the same thing. So I'm like, okay, all right. So what do I do now? So there's like universal Unitarianism. Like there's churches that don't really, everybody can come. Doesn't matter what religion you are. They're sharing the fellowship. Um, there's Buddhism. I studied that for a while. Like the Four Noble Truths, life is suffering, meditation, stay in the moment because you're trying not to let everything come into your head, not grab it. Um, you just want to stay in the moment because right now, in this moment, I'm okay. Right? I don't really need anything, but there's still things running in my head that I need. So you want to quiet that down. So that kind of makes sense to me. And so in my studying more and more, I kind of I've read I've read on this. I can't remember what books it was, but atheism is a belief. Atheism is a belief. It takes the same. It takes the same amount of um, belief to say there is no God than to say that there is a God, right? Because we have no proof either way, or we have no empirical proof. I say that we have no empirical scientific proof either way. That if there is a God, and we have no empirical scientific proof that the God is, down here meddling in our affairs and answering prayers. We have no proof of that, right? And we have His testimony. We have revealed religion. So even with atheism, you have to have a belief, right? So I was like, you know what? I don't think I'm an atheist. I'm an agnostic. That's what so I grabbed that one. And then I say, well, I kind of still believe in the spirit. I still kind of believe we're connected in some way, through energy. So that brought me to spirituality, right? And practices, things like meditation, taking walks, taking care of yourself. This podcast is my practice. This is my spiritual practice. And I'm going to read what spirituality is. So let me jump back on the little phone book here. I got it right here. So spirituality is a broad term that generally, I'm going to get a teleprompter, that generally refers to the search for meaning, purpose, and connection in life, right? It can involve a connection to a higher power, which I do not do. Oh, I do say a lot that I believe in the universe. The universe will work it out. So thank you, universe, for putting me here today. You're working it out because the universe is evolving. I don't know who started this mess or what happened, but it seems to be on some kind of path, right? So if something comes to mind that's good, it was provided by the universe. If something was taken out, thank you, universe, for removing that from my life. And I always know that the universe is going to answer going to give me what I need when I need it. I just need to sit down and do exactly what I'm supposed to do, right? Become a better person. Or love more people. Lead with love. That's the only thing I understand about all these people that call themselves religious. Most of them do not lead with love, right? They're quick to condemn, because they believe you're a sinner. And all the bad things that happen in your life because you're sin. Don't sin, you won't have any problems. All right, so where was I? It can involve a connection to a higher power, a belief in a non-physical reality, or a deep sense of personal connection to oneself or others. Right, that's what I'm saying. Spirituality is often contrasted with religion as it exists independently of organized religious structure. Right. So spirituality is for you. Spirituality is for you. Nobody can teach you spirituality. Spirituality is not organ. It's a personal thing, right? So that's why I call myself a spiritual agnostic, right? I'm always trying to leave with love, and I believe that if I could just constantly follow that before I do anything, I'll be better off, or the world will be better off. If we had more people who would live, that live with love, the world would be better off. I don't know. We get to the point that hate is eating people alive, and all they want to do is hate. I don't know. I don't know the benefit of hate. I know hate to damage you and damage your community. And we see it every day right now in our lives that hate is really destroying our country. You know what I'm saying? Even though these people call themselves religious, they're not leading with love. So that's what I'm saying. That's what I mean by spirituality is for you. So that brings me back to the groups, right? So the groups don't do it for me. And I'm gonna play a video. I might do it next week. It's a video about how what's these called? These programs could actually be hurting people. Most people, if you study anything, most people just get clean on their own. They either get tired, they just work it out, or they just actually just up and I'm not gonna do it no more. More people actually fall into that category than get cleaning the rooms, as they say. I don't know what's going on with me, because I've been tired of this life for a long time, and I've been tired of having to go to the rooms, right? Because I go to the rooms. I don't, they say I don't. You're supposed to stay until you something. Don't identify out, right? If you don't see yourself, you will see yourself in the rooms, right? Just because if I go to a group and it's all white and it's in the country, I might not see people with my same story, or look like me, or experience life like me, or experience getting clean like me. So it's like, just stay there. You will see yourself. Don't leave. I'm just not a joiner. I go. I get I get a sponsor. It doesn't stay. I don't want to be there. So this is on me right now. It's on me, period. You know what I'm saying? But don't follow me. I don't know where I'm going. I do, but I don't want you there. So it's like, so spirituality for me right now is my practices, right? What do I do every day? One thing about doing this podcast, the most that I want to get out of this podcast is the practice. I want to get the skills, the workflow, the recording, the streaming, the editing, the setting of the podcast, the lighting, everything like that. And as I grow it, I want to perfect it and then teach it to other people. That's the Creators Collective part I want to get into. And I want to get into producing. Right now, I'm everything for this little podcast, and it's a lot. So I can imagine, like, people have teams, like the big pods have teams. I can imagine they're all busy because it's a lot. Cutting clips, and then there's a lot of resources I'm learning about, Opus Clips. Now you get approached with different affiliates. People want to affiliate. I know, like, my podcasts are hosted through Spreaker. Spreaker cuts it up and dumps in commercials because it's really iHeart. So if you hear my podcast outside, if you hear it on YouTube, you don't have premium YouTube, you're gonna hear commercials. But if you have like Spotify or iHeart, or even with Spreaker, different other podcast apps, yeah, you're gonna get commercials because they chop it up. That's how they make their money. If they don't share, unless you have a certain amount, right? I'm way below the limit, or the amount to be monetized. That's not coming anytime soon. So I get approached, or like everybody else, with other affiliate links and stuff like that. I may start doing that because I don't really want to. This podcast isn't to make money. This podcast is my spiritual practice, right? It keeps me constant. Like, I have to think of the ideas. Like, I have the like, this spirituality. I think I want to talk about homophobia, attachment styles. Like, these are already written out in my notebook about what's coming up next. And then the Wednesday night recap, that's just riffing, just checking in. Keeps me present. It keeps me present. So if I do ever decide to go back, I don't want, because like I say, 22, I'm not in recovery yet. I don't count I'm in recovery till 90 days. That's just me. That's my program. So if I were to go out and use again, it would be like, I just went out and used again. I slipped up, and I have to start my account. But it doesn't. If I do that now, I'll be in a different headspace, right? I won't continue, and it's in the same way, and I won't be able to talk the same thing I'm talking. So I'm not taking that lightly. I'm not taking that lightly. That's why I'm very careful about who I talk to and who I allow into my space, because I know that I can be jacked out of my position by not continuing this practice or other spiritual practices I have. Like just now, just since I started, like I've lost 13 pounds and I'm still not walking yet. So I did walk like one day last week. You know, I tried to do 10,000 steps, blah 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 blah. But I actually try to do more than that because on my regular day of work, uh, if I'm in IT and I'm local, I'm walking all day. You know what I'm saying? 10,000 is like the morning. Especially, that's why I said with the ExxonMobil. ExxonMobil used to be 5 buildings, right? And we were in one building, so we were getting dispatched through tickets, and we were like I think they had sub basements too in that building. So you would be in a sub basement to pick up a computer or a laptop or a whole rack of laptops or something. Then you push it through. You had to go through like 5 buildings to get the sub conference room or down in the basement on another building to set up. So you were like walking all day, on your feet all day, walking back and forth because you forget something. I gotta go back. I'll be back. And then you gotta go here. There. It was a lot of walking. That's been my whole entire career, which I love. I love it. So I don't know what I was talking about. I'm not elevated. This is just me on a normal day. So yeah, so these practices are more precious to me, and spirituality is more precious to me than religion ever was. Because religion isn't about me. It's about control. It's about society, right? Spirituality is me. It's me. It's mine. Um, and I've learned to through this. I've learned to not try. Not I don't have to live up to anyone else's expectations, right? I can set my pace. It's important that I set my pace. If you want me to be there for you, you want to leave me alone. Let me set my pace, right? I'm coming. Especially if I love you, I'm coming. And I'm talking to somebody specific. I love you, babe. I miss you, and yeah, I'm gonna leave that there. I'm talking about my daughter. I have a strange daughter. I'm gonna start crying. No, I'm not. Yeah, so it's important for me to, if you're religious, look for spirituality. Are you improving as a person? Are you leading with love? Do you want to love? Right? Do you want to love? Do you want to be loved? What do you want? Like, is the religion doing it for you? And I think that's another thing why a lot of the black church is dying because they don't ask these questions. The shenanigans I see on in social media, Instagram, but these churches locking doors, that's ridiculous. Why are you doing that? I wouldn't even go through that. That's the thing. That's the thing I'm saying though. I don't like the shenanigans. I like the tricks, the cons. You know what I'm saying? The ongoing. It's a joke, right? The ongoing building fund. You never hear of a building. Where'd that money go? I don't know. But I was in the church. I've seen the finances. It just go. Um. So for me, spirituality is who I am. Agnosticism, because I don't know. I'm not gonna sit here and argue with somebody, and that's another thing. I was in a lot of on board, especially remember Black Planet. They used to have a lot of forums or groups or whatever, and this was a big group. They get into these debates about the atheism, and I'm like, I can't really get there. I can't go there because that's the belief. You believe that there is. I don't know. I'd rather not know, because it doesn't affect me either way. Right? Um, because I'm gonna live my best life. I'm gonna try to elevate every day. I want to be in a higher consciousness, right? I don't want to be where I was um when I was using. I don't want to be there. That's the base. That's the base. You basically only care about, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not taking showers every day. You know what I'm saying? They ain't thinking about life or love. All they thinking about is the next drug. You know what I'm saying? They'll say they're your friend, but they're not, because they're not even love. The same thing at work. Um, I really don't levitate or gravitate towards Christians, and that's what I'm saying. I don't like that's another whammy for me, right? all the women are like into Jesus and everything like that. Into Jesus, luckily Heidi wasn't. They were into Jesus, or they're into monogamy. That's 2 strikes on me, right? Remember I said this. Remember I said last week. This isn't a life for. This isn't an easy life. You know what I'm saying? It's rewarding when it hits, but it could be a lonely existence. But it's not lonely because I'm able to work on my goals every single day. And I wish I had found this out earlier. I would have saved a lot of people time, and I would have saved me a lot of time, because I basically, like I said, didn't walk in my truth and didn't understand why I had friction. And friction meant that I was being dragged into something that I didn't want to be dragged into because I wanted to make everyone in my life happy, right? I'm gonna make you happy today by me doing what I need to do, and you being able to call on me, and me being able to decide whether I'm gonna help you or not. you, you rather have me. You rather have me be in place to make that decision than me not to answer the phone at all. I'm telling you. So yeah, I think I did that. I think I did that justice. From my standpoint, or why I why I practice spirituality, why I chase spirituality, why I lead with love. If we could, everything we're going through now is because of hate, right? In this country, it's because of hate. Hate. I mean, like, I don't really understand how people. How do you think this is going to be successful? Any of these plans. I'm not the current administration. How do you think this is going to be successful when you hate the people that you're trying to lead? It doesn't work. It doesn't work. But you can't convince someone of that because they haven't spent their time trying to elevate themselves, right? So yeah, spirituality, man, that's where it is. Spirituality is your life. It's about you. And if you need religion, if you need that, go. I mean, I love church music. I do. My joke is, if I could find a church that only does music, I will go. Like, that's all we have is a praise and worship service, and then everybody go home. I don't want to hear you preach. Praise and worship service. Going home. If I could design my church, I would have it be like we all sit in a circle and just talk about things and debate about things and stuff like that. Though I don't really desire to have someone standing up up there talking to me down here. There's no need for that. It's not productive. It's not productive, and it I don't know. I'm not bashing anything, but do what works for you. That's the most important thing. But as always, I'm gonna say lead with love, because one thing about leading with love, it always rings into my head, and I gotta do this. Change I must, or die I will. Yeah, that's basically my message to myself. That's why I want to hear 2 nights a week as I just sit here and do this. I don't think I did last week. All right, so I'm gone. I don't have any clips to share today. I am working on something for the next time, because I want to talk about living authentically, right? And releasing the outcome. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna do that next time. So anyway, please take the time to like, share, subscribe. If you want to help out, if you know somebody who would enjoy this, please share it. If not, thank you for your time. I appreciate you. So yeah, that's it. I'm gonna wrap it up. Leave it there. I'll see you on Wednesday. I'll give you an update as to what's going on with my clearance and all that good stuff. And then because once I have that day, I'm gonna start talking about the equipment I want to buy. I'm excited about buying equipment more than anything else. I'm excited about the next phase, which is building out the studio, the camper van, the cargo van, converting it to a camper van. Like, all that stuff, a lot of stuff going. And there's a lot of things I want to talk about. I haven't really talked about the being a cannabis advocate or that part of it. It's elevated exchanges for a reason. Elevated exchanges. Elevated. How do you elevate? So yeah, we're gonna talk about that more. Once I get to past 90 days, you know what I'm doing. If you know, you know. All right, so I'm out. I think it's the right button.
All right, people, we out. Choose love every time, and things will work out. All right, peace. See you next week.
Love you. I guess I know how to do this.